All right, we are rocking and rolling. It is day number 46 inside of our 30K in 90 days challenge. And today we're going to talk about something important. And I want to make sure I introduce you to one of my amazing thought leaders. I'll be sharing some content with you here. But this lesson is to really talk to you about the reason why you'll see some people winning and you'll see some people succeeding, and at the same exact time you will see other people failing miserably. Okay, and we're talking about across entrepreneurship, but it's even more relevant when, let's say, you are a part of a program and you see other people in the same program as you, maybe, selling the same things you're selling, offering the same things you're offering, same company, everything, but they seem to be winning at this, hugely far fetched, what it feels like to you, a far fetched um, win, right? Where you might be, or you see other people who are just not getting any results at all. And there's always going to be people in the middle as well. And we're going to talk about why there's such a disparity in that. And it is quantifiable and we can pinpoint it. Okay. And so before we jump into it, I want to introduce myself in case you are new to my channel, new to this series, or new to me overall. My name is Tracey Walker. I am a baseball mom. My son is 10 years old. He plays on two baseball teams, one rec ball team, one travel. Now, this fall, which is 2024, he's also playing flag football, and he has his trainer in the gym twice a week, in addition to being full time in a school, right? Obviously, he's in the fifth grade. And as a single parent, I tell you, I couldn't be more proud of that kid. All right. Now, the next thing about me and why I'm even here is because I have been very fortunate over the years. I've been full time online making money in the digital marketing space since 2008. Okay, way before Instagram, way before a lot of these different platforms even existed. And I've made well over seven figures using and utilizing digital marketing and digital marketing strategies. Okay, I have used digital marketing strategies to build a huge net with several huge network marketing organizations, one of them well into the seven figures, as well as having 20, 30, 40,000 people in an organization worldwide. I have also used digital marketing to become a top, well, in many of the programs I've chosen to be an affiliate of from the affiliate marketing space, a top, if not one of the top producers and earners inside of those affiliate marketing programs. Again, all through digital marketing. Okay. And last but not least, through the understanding and the use of digital marketing, I have created my own courses, my own trainings, my own ebooks, downloads, worksheets, infographics, training courses, if I didn't say that already, coaching programs, all types of things. Okay. Video trainings. And it has really, really been good to me. All right. And so, what we're doing here in this 90-day challenge is I am sharing with you different ways and strategies on how you can use digital marketing to help you take your life and your business and your income to the very next level within a 90-day period of time. And over the past 45 days, I have shared a lot of information in reference to strategy, in reference to how to, like how to create content, in reference to chat GPT, kicking out content, prompts that you can use to kick out content, have a never ending, I was gonna say unending, but a never ending source of content that you can actually create. And then being able to head over to your favorite platform and be able to use your digital marketing in those spaces. In addition, we talked a lot about mindset. Okay. And we're going to talk about that a little bit here today because I want you guys to understand that I've already given you the strategies. Like this is, I'm going to keep reiterating that. We are in the second half of this challenge. It's day number 46. Okay. I've already given you strategy. I've already given you how to. I've already given you the things that you need to create digital marketing content. We've talked about Canva. We've talked about stats. We've talked about all type. We've talked about videos. We've talked about my teleprompter. We've talked about a lot of different things. So my question is, if you've been with me, you've been following along, and we're on day 46, how come you don't have your content up and out? It's not because you don't know what to do. It's not because I haven't spent the last 45 days of my life sharing it. It's because it's something going on in your mind. We've talked about fear. We've talked about procrastination. We talked about a lot of that. But today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, and that is why some win and some fail. And I want to give you the reason. Okay. Most likely, if it's not just fear, okay, the most likely reason is because you have a lid on your leadership. You have a lid on your leadership. In other words, you're to a certain point. Think of it like a thermostat, right? If you set your thermostat in your home to, let's say, 72 degrees, as soon as your home gets to 72 degrees, then the thermostat is going to kick on, right? And it's going, or kick off, right? So it's going to blow, blow, blow. It's going to cool, 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 cool until it gets down, or it's going to heat, 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 heat until it gets up. And when it reaches that point, let's just say it's going to heat up, right? Until it gets to 72, thermostat's going to cut off. Your fan's going to cut off. Your heat's going to cut off. Why? Because it has reached the lid. It has reached the limit. It has reached the point at which you told it to cut off at 72. Your leadership has a lid on it in the same way that a thermostat has a cap on the temperature. So if your leadership level, the lid of your leadership is right here, then you can't expand any further than where you are. Like, you can't be at 72 degrees and then make the house get to 78 degrees, right? It's not going to get hotter. When it gets to 72, it's going to cut off. You're not going to raise it to 78 because you stare at it. You're not going to raise it to 78 because you're praying. You're not going to raise it to 78 because you're hoping and you're wishing. You're not going to make it to 78 because somebody else is doing whatever they're doing in their home or their apartment or their condo, right? That's not the way it's going to happen. The only way that you can change it is if you walk up to the thermostat and you changed the temperature where the cap is now 78. You've got to walk over there. You've got to change it. Okay. You can't just nebulously look at it and think about it and hope and pray and all this type things. Those are places and times to do that. But this is not that. When you know that you need to change something, you got to make an active change, take action in that direction. Okay. Now, there's a gentleman by the name of John C. Maxwell. How many of you guys know who John C. Maxwell is, right? Or at least have heard of him? And I believe John C. Maxwell is the one that wrote the book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Okay, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And let me just say, leadership is so important. I mean, not only is leadership important in terms of business, but leadership is important in terms of your life, right? If you are a parent, you have to lead your children. Leadership is important. If you are a poor leader, then your children will learn poor leadership skills. And then when they get older or as they're growing and you recognize they do not know how to make good decisions, you realize they don't speak their mind. You realize they are not vocal enough to say what they need to say so that they can, accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. Or you realize they don't have the confidence that you believe that they should have, or they don't do as well in school as you believe that they should do, right? A lot of that, not all of that, there's also varying reasons for a lot of those different things, but a lot of that happens because of the type of leadership that we as parents provide or the lack thereof. Okay? You are a leader. If you are a spouse to someone, okay, you need to be a leader in whatever the role is that you are playing in your home. For me, let's say as a mom, right? I've been married before as a wife. Okay, there's a certain level of leadership that I take on when it comes to the home, right? I know how to run a home, right? Like a well-oiled machine. My mother was a Virgo. Okay, my mother did not play. She had things tip top shape. My mother made sure that the ins and outs was moving and shaking, and that, what's going on with the kitchen, what's going on with the dishes, what's going on with the groceries, what's going on with the cleanness of the house, what's going on in your room, what's going on in my room, what's going on with the bed being made, what's going on with the couch being together, what's going on with the curtains being closed and blinds being closed that night, right? What's going on? Like, my mother know how to run a well-oiled machine. what's going on with your bedtime, what's going on with your shower time, what's going on with your homework time. Okay, the time is off for the game, the time is off for talking on the phone, right? I had discipline and rules and parameters by which I could move in as a child, and so I grew to understand those things as I run my own home, right? And like I said, even when I was married, even running that aspect of the home, I'm good at that, right? And I think you're probably good at a lot of stuff that you do too, right? But now, if you realize that things are falling apart in your home, if you realize that communication is down in your home, if you realize that the kids are not paying attention to what you're saying in the home, if you're realizing that, oh my goodness, your energy is low, or you're not happy with your significant other, or you're not happy with your job, or you're not happy with the amount of money you're making, or you're not happy with all these different things, if you're not careful, your leadership will start to decline, and the people around you that may have been assigned to you for you to lead, well, now they don't honor what you're saying and or doing because you are operating in poor leadership. Your lid on leadership is here, and people, you've got people in your life that are expecting, they need this type of leadership, and if you can't get there, then they're going to have to leave and go find someplace else where they can fit under the lid of the leadership. If someone's operating and vibrating here, and your your lid of leadership is down here, what's going to happen is this person isn't going to be able to fall under your leadership, because they would have to drop down to do that. Right. And that's almost virtually impossible. You don't want anybody to shrink to be under your leadership. Doesn't it make more sense that you rise up and you step into your greatness and you become that of a much better leader? You get better to learn how to grow and expand than to expect everybody else to shrink down to, your level. So anyway, John C. Maxwell talks a lot about this, and he has a video that he's posted. I'm going to share that video with you here, and I want you to listen carefully, and I want you to take notes. And then when this video is over, we will go ahead and we will close everything out for the training here on today. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up the video, and let's go.
Law number one. The law of the lid. The law of the lid says leadership determines the level of effectiveness. Now, this is a huge law, and although I say one law is not more important than any other law, here's what I do want you to know. If I would start off with any law, I must start off with this one, and here's why. Because if you can buy into this law in the next 5 to 6 minutes as I talk to you, if you can buy into this law, you'll have a great passion to learn all the others, and let me explain why. I'm going to illustrate the importance of this law by using my hands. Watch this for a moment. It's kind of a visual illustration. Let's say, for example, my left hand here represents my ability to lead people. This is how well John Maxwell leads people. This is my leadership lid. Okay. If this hand is my leadership, and if this hand is my business, in other words, my company, my department that I'm overseeing, okay, whatever I'm in charge of, here's what I want you to understand. My department, my business, my company, my organization, here's what I want you to understand. The lid of my leadership will never allow my business to get any higher. It'll never allow in other words, if this truly is my leadership lid, my company, my business, my department, my organization, whatever it is, it can never get any higher than the lid of my leadership. In other words, your leadership, my leadership, our leadership lid, whatever it is going to literally control and determine the size of our business. Now, this is huge. If I were sitting where you are right now and I was taking notes, what I'd be saying to myself is something like this. Since the law of the lid says that my leadership is going to determine my effectiveness, the most important thing that I can do in my life is learn how to become a better leader. Let me explain to you. Remember, I've already said to you the laws can be learned. We've already realized that you can learn these laws, okay? In fact, you told your neighbor you can learn these laws. Now, let me explain to you what can happen. Let's say from a 1 to a 10, my leadership lid is a 4. Well, what that means is if I'm a 4 as a leader, then my business, my organization is going to be a 3. Now here's what's not going to happen. If I'm a 4 as a leader, my business or my organization is not going to keep going above that lid and go to a 4, 5, 6, 7. It's never in the history of mankind. The organization has not grown beyond the lid of the leadership of that organization. The leadership contains and controls and determines the size of the business. Now, so if I'm a 4, you look like a great smart audience, so I'm going to ask you a question. If I'm a 4 as a leader, what's my organization going to come to that I lead? But what's my number? 3, 4 max, isn't that right? Can't be any higher. What it's not going to be a 5, 6, or 7 because my lid is a 4. Now, the good news is I can learn to lead. So here's what I'm saying. If I'm a 4 as a leader and I've got a 3, 3.5, maybe, max, maybe a 4, I doubt, company or organization, here's what I want you to see. If I go from a 4 and I start learning leadership to a 5, to a 6, to a 7, all of a sudden, now look what happens. I have capacity for growth. I have potential for growth. My company can go from a 3 to a 4 to a 5 to a 6. In other words, here's what I'm saying. You can literally double the size of your department. You can just double the size of your company by just lifting your leadership lid. And every one of you here, everyone that would watch these tapes, I want to say this to you. You can lift your leadership lid. But everything, remember this, everything rises and falls on leadership. By the way, where I learned this, when I lived in San Diego, California, I had a fellow by the name of Don Stevenson who was my mentor. And he was the president of Global Hospitality, and that Global Hospitality literally would buy, they would buy resorts that were going bankrupt. Resorts like La Costa, Greenleaf, any kind of major resort across America that was going under financially. What we found was that this company, Global Hospitality, they would come in and they would buy the company. Okay, now get the picture. Here we are. I'm sitting out with Don Stevenson about every other month. He's mentoring me. And I asked him one day, I said, Don, when you go buy a bankrupt company, a resort that's going under, are there some things that you always do? And I'll never forget. He looked at me and said, John, he said, yes, there is. He said, when we go into a bankrupt company, he said, there are 2 things we always do. And I looked at him and said, 2 things? He said, yes, absolutely. He said, the 2 things we always do is, he said, first of all, we train all the people that are in the service business, the employees. In other words, the guys that are out there when the cars pull up and they're unloading the luggage. He said, we train them all in relational skills. In other words, we train them, we talk to them about how to remember names, how to get along with people. And he said, the reason we do that, the waiters, the waitresses, the people behind the checkout counter, on the grounds. And he said, what we found is 90% of the people who do not return to the resort after their first visit had a bad experience with the employees of the organization. They weren't treated with great respect, or they weren't taken care of well. And so he said, what we do is we go through and we train all the people. Now what I'm doing, I'm sitting there and I'm taking notes, and so I'm writing down to me, make sure that you've trained all the people in your organization. Okay. He said, the second thing we do is, he said, every time we take over a bankrupt company, he said, we fire the president. And I don't write that one down. And I look at him and say, what do you mean you fire the president? He said, John, he said, every time we take over a company that's going under, he said, we fire the president. I said, well, that seems a little harsh, isn't it? I mean, don't you first go see him, you know what I mean? Go sit in the office, light a fire in the fireplace, hold hands, do a little kumbaya, you know what I'm talking about? No. He said, John, he said, we fire the president. And I'm pressing him a little bit more, and I can remember, because he was eating the salad. He was just looking down, eating the salad, talking to me. And he stops, puts his fork down. Now he's looking at me. He's a little bit ticked that I'm not catching this, And he's looking at me. He said, John, listen to me. He said, if the president were any good, the company wouldn't be going bankrupt. The first thing we do is fire the president. I remember finally saying, okay, fire the president. You know what he was teaching me that day? He was teaching me the law of the lid. What he was really saying to me is that it's an absolute fact that in any organization, everything rises and falls on leadership. And the leadership of that organization will determine the size of that organization. And so therefore, when you have a good company that's thriving and doing great business and excelling, you've got good leadership. And when you've got a company that's stagnant and it's going downhill and it's not going well, I can promise you, you have bad leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Now, let me tell you what that law did for me as a leader. That day, when I walked out from the table, after listening to Don talk to me, that day, what I realized was that I was responsible as a leader. That I had to now take responsibility for my organization. I had to take responsibility for my people. I had to take responsibility for the success of my company. That I couldn't go and blame someone else. I read a statement recently that's just powerful. Here's what it is. It's easier to go from failure to success than it is to go from excuses to success. That's a tremendous statement. And whenever as a leader I begin to make excuses for why my company is not doing well or why my organization is not doing well, and I began to go say, well, you know what, I mean, we're in the wrong location and we got the wrong people. Listen, cut the excuses out. If you're the leader, learn to lead and take responsibility for that leadership. Here's the good news. You can grow as a leader. You can become a better leader than you are right now. That I promise you. But take responsibility. Because the law of the lid says the organization or the company cannot rise any higher than your level of leadership. The law of the lid is a huge law. So if you'll notice in your workbook, I have some questions. Just some simple questions. Questions that I want you on your own to ask yourself. Questions such as, what is the lid number on my leadership? From a 1 to a 10, where am I? Question number 2. I love this one. Would those around me agree with my assessment? Get your leadership team together. Hey, by the way, let me just say this. If, when you're kind of evaluating yourself, if you put down that you're probably from a 1 to a 10, you're probably like a 9.5. And you ask your team, you get your team together and say, what do you think my number is? And they say you're a 2.5. You're probably missing something. So let those around you evaluate and assess your leadership. And then question number 3, what is my plan to increase my lid number, my leadership lid number? How am I going to grow it? Because I have found that this is absolutely key. The ability to prepare and do curriculum like we're doing here so that you can grow as a leader. I mean, how am I going to grow my leadership lid? And question number 4, what are the lid numbers of those that work with me? That's a great question. Those that are around you close, because one of the laws we'll study in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership is the law of the inner circle. And the law of the inner circle says those closest to me determine the level of my success. So what are the lid numbers of those around me? And then question number 5, what is my plan to increase their lid numbers? What's my plan? How am I going to increase the lid numbers of those around me? Law number 1, the law of the lid.
Law number 1, the law of the lid. All right. And so as I leave you here on day 46, I want you to go through John C. Maxwell's questions and I want you to answer them. If you need to go back, you can rewind this training on today and you can play and pause as needed. And you want to get those questions and you want to actually go ahead and go through them and provide yourself with the answers. Okay. Part of entrepreneurship is self-direction. Okay. There is no one that is going to double check and make sure you did it. There's no one going to give you a grade if you do it, if you don't. There's nobody that's going to call your mama and put a pen and letter on your chest to send home or expel you or give you, you're going to fail your test. Like, this is real life. And it's pretty much just boils down to either you're going to do what someone like me is kind of giving you the track to do, or you're not. And your results are going to speak for themselves. All right. So I want you to work on your leadership. I want you to work on your lid. I want you to understand the law of the lid. And I want you to put yourself in position to start raising your lid, because the higher your lid goes, the more the people around you can grow, the more success that can grow underneath you. It's like the wind beneath your wings, right? The wind has to be beneath the wings. But if you're on the ground, then stop acting like you need to be soaring while you on the ground. You need to get some space up underneath those wings so that wind can carry you, can soar. All right. And so I hope this was valuable for you on today. I absolutely love John C. Maxwell. In fact, this is just a little plug to him. Listen, if you have not read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, you probably need to go and grab that book. It's an old book. It's an old book. This is an old video I just showed you. So this is not something new because it's the internet. It's not something new because it's digital marketing. It's not something new. It's new to you because you're just now tapping in. This is the right time. You're on the right frequency where this is coinciding with you. As they say, as when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. John C. Maxwell has been here forever. Well, not forever, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's been here a long time, okay? Way before you probably were looking to be successful on the internet. And so now he's appeared for some of you, maybe for the first time, maybe a reintroduction for others, depending on where you've been in your life and, coming in and out of entrepreneurship, maybe, okay, or leadership overall. And you're re-engaging, and I'm excited for you, okay? So go ahead. Make sure you answer those questions. Get that assessment done on yourself so that you can raise your lid, baby, and make sure that you can win in things that you are doing and not just be looking at everybody else trying to figure out what their strategy is. The strategy is the inside work. Even if we're doing the same external marketing strategy, what's making it work for them is the way that they lead, it's the way that they perceive their business, it's the way that they execute, it's the way that they think about it, it's the way that they feel about it. Those are things that you cannot see. These are intrinsic things that I am trying to give to you, that you to make you aware of, so that you stop beating yourself up when you see somebody winning and you think it's just the strategy. And when you say you're doing everything that they're doing, you're doing everything that they're doing externally, but you haven't done half the shit that they're doing internally. Comprende? All right, just had to go ahead and put that out there like that. So y'all know this not no game, okay? And this is for real. So now, with that being said, we want to also put you in position to actually be able to earn the income, right? You're doing all of this work. You're putting this stuff out here. You're getting this content going. You're learning these skills. You're getting your mindset together. You're eliminating fear. You're raising your lid, and then you're making 20 bucks every time you make a sale. How many sales you need to change your life? I want to teach you how you can start earning at least 900 up to $900 for every sale that you make, which is 100% of the commission. You are not splitting that with anyone. You earn 100% of the commission without having to be the person responsible for creating the course material, the training material, the education material that actually allows you to earn that type of income. When you share our Legacy Builder program with someone else who is literally and legitimately looking for a way to educate themselves about how to make money on this here internet. All right. And so if you have not gotten your hands on my free digital marketing blueprint, I want you to go ahead and click on the link right below in the description here on YouTube. You'll see where it says get the blueprint or grab the blueprint. Or if you're over on Facebook, then you're going to see it in the comments section. Okay. Get the blueprint. And when you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page where you need to put your email in there, your email address. And then after you hit the submit button, you're going to actually be redirected to a video. That video is very important. I want you to watch that video, and it's not even long. But I want you to watch that video in its entirety. And if it resonates with you, if it makes sense, it's cohesive, you say, yes, I'd like to learn more. What you want to do is you want to click the button underneath that video and continue on so that you can learn more in detail about really how our Legacy Builder program works and get yourself in alignment to get positioned to be a member. All right. And as a member, you'll be able to access all of our digital marketing education. You'll be able to access all of our live trainings that we do throughout the week. You'll be able to interact with our 36,000 member community at this point of all paid members that have a very active and jumping and popping community over on School. And you will be able to see how others are doing what they're doing. Even though we're all leveraging the same core material, you'll be able to see how others are doing what they're doing, and you'll see the success stories. And when you see those success stories, I want you to realize that if you haven't had success yet, you got to raise your lid. So I'm teaching you this, right? I want to expose you to winners. But if I expose you to winners and you don't really believe that you can win, then it's kind of pointless to put you in an environment with winners. I want you to be in an environment with winners so that you can keep a good finger on the pulse of what's possible so that you get out of the environment of people who are doubters, people who don't believe in you, people who don't believe in the business model, people who don't believe you can make money online, people who don't believe anything that you're trying to do with your life. You got to immerse yourself into an environment where these people actually do believe it and they actually are making the changes and they're transforming right before our eyes. You deserve to be there. But the only way you're going to appreciate that type of value, that type of golden environment, is if you understand that you deserve to be there, regardless of any results you may have right out of the gate. You're going to work on raising that lid. Okay. And we're going to help you to do it. All right. So go ahead, get your hands on the free digital marketing blueprint. Make sure you study a little bit more about John C. Maxwell, especially the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Raise your lid. And I will see you guys on tomorrow, which is day number 47 inside of our 30K in 90-day challenge. All right, guys, I am super excited to be on this journey with you, and we're going to keep the train rolling. All right. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.